Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Joel. Hey, a couple years ago, you would have signed up for 8 and 9. How does this one feel? How much frustration / disappointment, all of that goes into what happened this year?
It was definitely frustrating. I thought we, after the Kansas City loss in the playoffs, I thought we were a few pieces away from, really having a chance to compete for a championship this year. And obviously that did not, come to fruition. But I do have faith in this building, and I have faith in the people in the building, and that we're going to, make it right. And it's never easy, but it was definitely a frustrating season. And I don't think there was one thing you can point to, but overall, definitely disappointing for us.
Thank you, Tom. Marla Reinauer.
Yeah, Joel, thanks for everything this year. JOK was just talking a little bit about the unity and the chemistry of the team. Just do you now that you look back, do you see anything lacking or that can be improved in that regard?
I think you can always improve, the chemistry of the group, but I honestly think we do have a good group. And like I was saying, from the top down, Andrew Barry and Coach Stefanski, we're all on the same page still. We all want to win. We all want to get to that point of, being the last team standing eventually. And the guys in the locker room are bought in. Like, the defense played really well last half of the, second half of the season. And there was never any bickering between guys, and I think the guys are close in this locker room, and the guys that come back are going to, learn from this and learn and really, really, truly fight for each other next year.
Thanks, Marla. Cam Justice, go ahead.
Hey, Joel, speaking of how the defense had to gel and the guys coming back next season on offense, you might have, some turnover in that regard. When you're entering this offseason, how do you approach that mentally, knowing, you might have to get some guys up to speed like the defense did, but in a way that, you hope to get it done a little quicker and early into the season so you can have a season like you wanted, unlike this year?
Yeah. It's, I think every year, especially in the NFL, it's such to even like the best teams turn over, the roster, 5-10 guys at the bottom of the roster, draft picks, things like that. So, we're going to be in, I think a similar offense than we have, the last couple of years. So most of the guys here are going to know it pretty well. And that's going to be easier for guys to step in and take that next step when the guys around them kind of know what's expected of them and know the culture and the scheme that we're going to be running.
Thank you, Cam. Let's go to Jeff Shadell.
Hey, Joel, do you think this team has trouble handling?
Can you restart your question, please? We had trouble hearing you.
Well,
all right, having some issues with Jeff's mic. Let's go to Mary Kay Cabot.
Yeah, Joel, do you have
asking Joel, do you think this team has some difficulty?
I'm sorry, Mary Kay, please go ahead.
Okay. So, Joel, do you have, probably more than almost anybody else on this football team, a real true appreciation for just how incredibly difficult it is to get to the playoffs? And, as you look forward, do you understand that? I mean, do you feel like you have to help articulate that to everyone that, look, we're going to have to, everybody's going to have to take their game up a bunch of notches, and, just what's your mindset with that sort of vibe?
Yeah, I think, at the end of the year, you have these exit meetings, you meet with, GMs and coaches and other players and stuff. And you want to kind of set a foundation going into the next year. And I think, one of the things is like, you never know when the game or the moment's going to matter. You watched the Raiders last night and they make the playoffs, and Pittsburgh finds a way to make the playoffs. And, 1 or 2 games early in the season change in your favor, and you're right there with them. And so I think from that mindset, we just talk about like, hey, when you can be when you can be out there, when you can, play and provide, like every little play is going to matter, and you don't have to play tight about it, but just know like, every moment in these seasons is important, and it's not going to be like, hey, the Browns have a good roster, they're going to the playoffs this year. And, there was injuries, there was COVID, there was things that happened this year, but we had the guys to make the playoffs no matter what, regarding those things. And we didn't execute well enough to really do that. But I think there's a focus on, every game matters, every moment matters, and you never know when that's going to really flip your season.
Thanks, Mary Kay. Nate Orr, go ahead.
Hey, Joel, what does it say about Nick Chubb to he missed a few games, but still finished second in the league in rushing. And then I know even going back a few years when he finished just behind Derrick Henry, how much that, kind of stuck with you guys. And is that rushing title still hanging out there for him, something you're going to be thinking about moving forward?
Yeah, Nick is beast. He runs hard. He has really everything you want in a running back, and he's so humble and he works so hard. Like, I want all the good fortune for Nick Chubb on the football field because he deserves it. And like you said, he missed a few games. I mean, obviously Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry are great running backs, and they both had good years. Derrick Henry obviously got hurt, but Nick's going to come out and work. And I think the one positive about our running back situation is we have Dearness and Kareem and guys that can take some of the workload off him. So he doesn't need to run the ball 30 times. And I think that's going to help, the longevity of his career. But yeah, the rushing title will be great. But honestly, like, we're at the point now where we want wins, and we might not, Nick might ever get 30 carries a game like some of these other running backs get. He might be in that 20 carry game if Kareem's getting 5 or 10 and Dearness is getting 5, so it's always going to be a little bit spread out, but we know when we give that guy the ball, like, good things are going to happen.
Thanks, Nate. Scott Petcher, go ahead.
Hey, Joel. Obviously, we talked so much last year about Kevin Stefanski, and things weren't as smooth this year. How do you think he handled a tough year, and how confident are you that he can kind of fix the things that didn't go right this year?
Yeah, I think we're all very confident in Coach Stefanski. He, he's the same guy. I think this end of the year, there was obviously some things we want to get right, but I couldn't tell if, we won the Super Bowl with that guy or we missed the playoffs. He's so even keeled and he's so day to day with his processes and figuring things out that we're going to be in a good spot. And he understands. I think he talks about, he looks in the mirror first and foremost, what can he do better to put us in a better position? And when the head coach is doing that, the players have to do that as well. You're looking at yourself, what can we do to improve as a person, as a player, and kind of take that field. But I think we have all the confidence in the world in him. And we know next year we're going to come back with a little bit of fire.
Thanks, Scott. Let's go to Jake Trotter.
Yeah, Joel, this was a tough year for Baker for a number of reasons. From your vantage point, leader on the team, what was this season like for him?
Like you said, it was tough. I think, the way he finished last year, we had all, we had all the confidence in the world that he was going to come and be able to replicate the finish last year and help and lead the team to their first playoff win, and just the way he was performing. And he got banged up, he got injured, and he's an ultimate competitor, and he wanted to be out there with his teammates, and he wanted to play through, multiple injuries that other guys in the league were out for the season with, had surgery right away. And, you can never question that guy's toughness. And then I think when you get hit enough times and, things aren't going right, your shoulder's hurting and stuff, like, things get tough. And, there were some tough stretches down there, especially the last couple of games. But, I know one thing, the guy's a fighter, and I know he's going to bounce back. He's going to have this surgery, and I think he's going to come back with a vengeance, and he's going to be confident in himself again. And that's one thing, you love about Baker. Like, he's going to play for you, and he's going to play with energy. And I really do have all the faith in the world in him.
Thanks. We'll take one more. Dan Lobby.
Hey, Joel, going into this offseason, I guess how much different is it from, some of the past disappointments, knowing that you're coming back with the same guys in charge and having that stability? I mean, how does that sort of change this offseason, or at least make it easier to turn the page, I guess, on what happened this year?
Yeah, it's never easy to lose, not accomplish your goals, but it's one of those things where we're going to be able to not take, huge changes. Like, there's going to be changes. We have to make changes, but we're going to have the same systems in place. We're going to have the same, thoughts in place. And I think it's going to be one of those things where we're going to be able to improve without, making too many of those major changes. Obviously, we need some, different personnel in some situations and stuff like that. But keeping everybody together and keeping the majority of the guys here, I think is going to help us in the long run.
Thank you, Dan. Joel, appreciate the time today.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys this year. And thanks for the vote. I appreciate that.